Hey guys, welcome to Schopfield Music. I'm Napoleon.
I'm John.
Today, John and I are going to go through some of the sounds of the Kemper so that we can get some good tones for a lot of these guitars here.
One more time. The main purpose of this was we were talking about his Stratocaster and how we could get a thicker tone into the Kemper. Now there may be a series of videos that will come from this, but for starters, we're going to try to thicken up the tone of the Strat. It may lead into some other parameters of the Kemper that maybe y'all might want to know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
So what we're going to do, we've got a few different types of guitars, different styles. We got some P90s, we got some humbuckers, we got some single coils, Napoleons Strats, Les Pauls.
He's only got a couple guitars.
Yeah. So what I'd like John to do, because John is all about his tones. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the Kemper here, and we're going to try to see if we can't find some good tones for different style guitars here. Maybe some effects that we can lock in so that they are consistent across the board.
I like that.
We're going to do a series because I'm guessing this is going to take a while.
Yes.
So please stay tuned. Be sure to like these videos and subscribe.
Always.
Bell it, yo.
Cheers.
You're always cheering.
I got to, man. It's our signature.
Hey, so we're going to need my guitar.
And by your guitar, your signature
well,
trademark.
We're going to need
Strat.
the Kemper. I don't know which guitar I want to start with, to be honest with you, John.
Really? You're excited for the new one? You got this one, and you got one just built for you?
I think I'd like to have a universal effect. Now, they don't have to be the exact same setting. Like if we're using a tube screamer as a distortion, or if we're using the a clean boost or a lead boost, something like that.
Right.
Each amp doesn't have to have the settings the same, but I'd like, you know, my A, B, C switch to be the same type of effect.
Right. More much like with my pedal board, they're not going anywhere because they're analog, and they're there. I get used to where they are, and so then it's easy for me to play the board that I have at the time if I keep it long enough. No.
Right. So John's going to be up here in the front, talking to you guys, talking to me, telling me what to do. I'm going to try to control the Kemper here.
Hopefully this answers a lot of the questions I have, too.
While I'm making sure I got everything hooked up this way, why don't you get that secondary camera, our B-roll.
Yeah, gotcha.
So one of the things that I enjoy, especially about your tone and setup, your pedal board, looks great. You've got a lot going on it for sure, but you seem to know where everything is on it for you.
Well, it's I tried to make it as simple. I know it looks scary and it looks complicated for those that don't really understand pedals or go through what guitar players like to go through. But
one of the differences between your setup and my setup is when you're going through this on the road, you're going to have just one amp sound.
Correct.
Obviously, in your studio, you do have the ability to switch through, I think,
multiple amps, right.
So a lot of the tones that you're going to get via pedals.
Correct.
So you do have a need for a lot more options than me.
Right. I want to get some different amp sounds and different amp tones and be able to take the one amp sound that I have and go to multiple places.
Right.
I like spacey, reverbish, washed out tones, and then I also like a super dry guitar to amplifier type tone with grit, but at manageable levels, which allows me to do that with the different types of overdrives and fuzz. I have one fuzz pedal and the different overdrive pedals that I use.
Right. And you really know your pedals and what different terminologies and all that are, what's useful in terms of lead work and rhythm playing.
I wouldn't go so far as saying I'm a professional by any means, but I certainly...
I spend a lot of time.
I spend a lot of time researching and a lot of time playing and just twisting knobs on the pedals, seeing what they do, understand. Now, naturally, I like to do my homework on a pedal before I purchase it. I like to try to think, is this really going to help me? Is it going to work with me? And a lot of it is consolidating space, really.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at what I have sitting on the floor.
Okay.
Now, my pedal board, compared to yours, is much different. And I have a different setup than you do.
Sure.
Going through the Kemper, a lot of my tones I just find from amps because I have the ability to be bringing however many amps I want.
Correct.
And as you already know, and eventually there'll be a review, and we'll link that review up for you when we get it done.
Right.
How the Kemper works, but it holds a lot of different amps.
Right.
The pedal board on here has the ability to have different effects on the top row of the Behringer MIDI controller. That's on the top row. That bottom row doesn't have a whole lot of functions. There's no effects pedals really. I have a looper and my vocal pedal, page turner, and my wireless guitar. That's it. So all the effects and guitar tone, which is what we're worried about in this video, is all coming from the MIDI controller. There's two levels. There's the bottom and top. The top is all the effects. They're labeled A, B, C, and X.
Yes, that's pretty interesting. So that's, I know you've explained it to me before in the past. The numbers are the amps.
The numbers are the amps.
And
That's
the
correct.
letters are your pedals.
Depending on which mode you are in through your Kemper, whether you're in browser or performer mode.
Right.
From a performer mode, I can have 5 different amps in each bank.
Nice.
So my thought is, for each style of the guitar, I could get myself 5 good amps or 5 good sounds
Sure.
for each type of guitar. And then I will label those performances Strat, Tele, Les Paul,
Keith Richards.
yes, hollow body, casino, bass, you know.
Whatever, right. Yeah.
Right. So that's the goal, I think. So we'll start with the Strat. Okay, and we'll kind of browse some of the amps I have currently. If you think it benefits it, I can try to connect the Kemper up to the internet to look at all the different profiles available, or we
Gotcha.
just kind of go through what we have on here already, which I think would probably be fine for what we
I think
want
what we
right
can do is once you and I work through these amps that we picked that we like, you'll know what to do from here at this point when you look on the internet and go through the vast array of amps.
now. Right.
So what I want you to do is pick an amp that you really like, that you
Okay.
want to work with your Strat.
Okay.
Do that right now.
Well, let's see. For my Strat, I'm trying to figure out what kind of sound do I want for the Strat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with my Strat, a lot of times I want a good sounding rhythm for it.
So you're going to probably want something that is certainly clean, but with a little crunch.
Fairly clean, but with a little...
Just a little crunch.
Little crunch.
See, I think with the Kemper it's great because really I can make almost any one work because we can crank
So if you want to
the
tell me...
volume and the gains up on either amp to get where we want to bring the levels down.
If you want to tell me a type of amp that I should look for...
I personally would start with a Fender Twin Tweed. Let's see what that does for you.
Alright. So...
So we have the ability to turn the amplifier up loud so that we can get the natural distortion through the Kemper that we want, you know, but we're technically playing a Fender Tweed
Alright, I have a
Twin.
Fender Twin... R121,
And this is what Marshall Tucker played through.
a Fender Twin,
Also Keith Richards.
Fender H Hot Rod Deluxe, Fender Deluxe, Fender Blues Junior.
A Deluxe would work as well.
But you want to try the Twin?
Well,
Let's try this R121 first.
yeah. R21, it makes me think
I
of
don't know-
the Royer 121 microphone, right? Royer 120.
I don't usually play it. I'm usually...
really clean.
That's pretty clean.
Almost sparkly
A
clean.
little too clean for the most. I mean, am I gonna ever want one that clean?
And to me, it really doesn't have a thin sound to it.
Now,
I think it sounds.
while we're in the twins, let me just move over to this one here. This is a 3 mic setup on a twin.
Okay, so this is an amp that's mic'd up. That's brighter.
Sounds a little fuller to me.
Yeah, that definitely sounds more fuller. I almost said more fuller.
So that seems pretty close. Now I can adjust a few things to try to get it where we want is a nice good bass line. And I'm thinking on the pedal board 1 through 5, if we come up with 5 sounds, I'm thinking maybe either 5 good sounds or we start clean, working our way up to a grittier sound as
Right.
we go along.
I'm huge into, I think on something like that, personally for me,
That seems to make sense.
it makes sense to go clean to crunch to dirty.
So is this, you think this is a good one to start with, or should I keep looking for a different one?
I think this is good. If you're happy with it and you're comfortable with it, my recommendation at this point is to find the amp that you want to start with, EQ the amp that's in the Kemper
Right.
with no pedals.
Well, there's already a gate and an EQ set on it. I'm going to turn those off.
I would get rid of any effects and all that stuff and go just guitar.
Delay and reverb's fine. Or do you want me to turn those off?
Get rid of everything because I want to hear the sound of the guitar and the amplifier. There we go. Yeah, really do some chording and still pretty clean and sparkly.
Not a bad starter, though.
No, it's a great starter. I think that's a great clean sound. I think if you want to thicken up a Strat tone, I would start by maybe with the EQ going to the treble. Where are we at right now on the treble with the
Well,
EQ?
these work a little differently because they take a profile of where was that on
The recording aspect of it.
the amp that they profiled.
Right.
Could have been set up all different ways. So everything's here.
So you're 12 o'clock on everything, right?
So yeah, it's all a matter of if you think it needs more of something or less something, you just change it.
Right. So why don't we try this? Why don't you take, since I'm going to say they're probably set to 12 o'clock, let's take your treble down to, let's go 11, maybe 10:30.
Okay.
We're a clock. Okay. And let's take the mids and go to, say, 2 o'clock. There you go. Okay, and start with that. Let's do some chording now.
That sounds better already. I like that. So I can still get that chime I want.
Yeah, you get the sparkle, but yet you're thicker.
Okay, well, that's pretty good.
So yeah, I like that's for thickening up a Strat tone on a clean amp. Always just kind of bring your treble down just a little bit, boost the mids just a hair, and I mean that's what I found anyways.
Now
So
the default reverb they already have on here, which we can adjust.
sure. Sounds nice. I like the reverb.
That's without it. This is
Right.
with it.
No, I like it. Now do me a favor. Strike a note real quick and then mute it. So the decay is pretty quick. So you could juice it up if you want.
Right.
And
there's also a delay.
no, don't mess with the delay just yet. But the reverb, you can make it a little more washier.
Right.
I don't understand the settings on a Kemper. So how would you, if you wanted to mess with the reverb?
I've got decay time, room size.
Do the decay time.
The decay time. I'm going to decrease the decay time.
See how the tail,
Yeah.
from after you hitting it,
Yeah,
it goes away
decrease.
quicker? If you want some washy Beach Boy
That's a
stuff,
bit too much.
crank the mix and crank the decay, and you can.
Most of the time when you play, you're going to have your reverb on, right?
Well, when you're doing lead work, at least for me, a lot of times I don't like a reverb. What I prefer is a delay and an overdrive, or, you know, for me, and my pedals are different. You would find a dirtier amp maybe if you don't use a boost or a distortion pedal of some kind to get your lead tone. What I would do is lose the reverb on a lead tone, like I said, grab a delay. I like an Echoplex. It's a little brighter, so you get, it just depends on your taste, and you can go with something similar to like a Memory Man, like I have on my board, and I have a carbon copy delay that is a darker tone than, say, an Echoplex.
Sure.
But yeah.
But in terms of reverb, I would use reverb like when chording.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get into a clean sound of spacey, a little bit spacey, you want to get.
Or if you're playing by yourself or it's very delicate, then maybe a little reverb.
Yes, definitely. You know, if you want to get some delicate. That sounds nice.
Sounds okay. Alright. So that'd be my reverb.
And with different songs, you may find yourself, you might want to do some adjusting on the parameters, which I'm sure you can do on the fly.
Yeah. Delay.
Okay?
What do I do? Just hit a note or a chord again?
Yeah. So now, you have a tap button on your pedal board.
I do.
I have a tap on my board.
Yeah.
I used it a lot last night.
Yeah, I don't use a tap. I don't really understand delay.
The way I like to use the tap is...
How does delay work?
Okay. Your delay will, of course, emulate whatever sound you throw at it and trail off. So it's giving you the effect of, say, what you would hear if you were putting on an arena concert, so to speak, like for an example.
So delay is basically emulating what echoes you would hear in a large.
Yeah, it's another form of reverb, really.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it, but I think.
So when you do a delay to any particular song you're playing, you would tap the tempo of the drums.
I tap the tempo of the delay that my guitar is coming back after I strum a note, a chord, or something through that pedal. When I tap, it changes the time that comes out of the tap. So like, say you're at 120 beats.
Or whatever.
I hit my guitar and you're going to hear the echo like this. Then I'm slow tapping it down to, say, 40 beats. You'll hear the beat of my guitar like this.
So you hit the tap tempo to match the drum tempo, or something that just sounds pleasant along with it, maybe?
To match the drums and the BPMs of the song.
Yeah.
So whenever you have a band situation and everybody's playing, there's going to be a time signature that everybody's playing in. What that is, sometimes when you're playing live and in jam bands, you never know. So having a tap tempo button at your disposal, like you have down there and I have on my board, is, I think, an important feature so that you can, because what I was doing last night when we were playing live, I would wait for Mike to start strumming his guitar, and James, either one of those guys, set the beat for us.
Right.
Okay, so when they were playing, I was tapping my foot over there to what they were doing, so that already...
And that usually would get you in the same
And that's
place.
before my pedal's on, before anything, so that now my whole pedal board, and the way I've got my pedal board set up is everything is hooked into my tap. I use my Boss ES8. I won't go into too many details, you already know. But I can control the tempos of everything on my H9 and the tempos on my Echoplex, which is all I really need in there.
So I don't really have to worry about the delays on reverb, because the delay I'll always be using a tap to get it to where I want it anyways. All right, so we've got a clean fender twin.
Yep.
Sounds okay. We like it.
Yep.
I think it sounds good.
Now what is this? Without the reverb?
This is without the reverb
Yes.
right now.
It kind of reminds me of like a super reverb, and that's, to me, that's a twin and a super reverb. They sound great like that. I like that. That's a great sound. And for a Strat, it's nice and thick. And you know what to do now. Take your treble down if you feel like you're coming in thin.
Take them down here.
You might be able to do it there.
So let me save this.
Yep.
Replace. Should I overwrite the rig currently loaded? I might as well.
Right, if you're happy with everything.
Because I don't want so many things in here anyways.
Option anxiety sucks.
So I'll just label it. Because we didn't really change much to it. Just I think it sounds better than it did.
Yeah.
So I'm going to replace to overwrite the rig currently loaded.
You can always resort back to factory.
Yeah. Stored. Oh, but I didn't change the name. So I want to change the name of it. Renamed overwrite rig currently loaded. Modified. That's what we want to do. We want to rename it. And if I put this in the first one, I don't need to mark that it's clean or dirty because it'll be in a position that's like clean. Okay, so my rigs will only show the rigs that you have made your own, identified by your author and name. Favorite rigs, only those rigs marked as favorites will be displayed. You can mark and unmark rigs as favorites by holding the rig button for 2 seconds. Cool. So,
Question answered.
we already know that's in my favorites because it's highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one will mark as favorites. And then once they're in my favorites, we can put them in. But, to be smart,
This is the first time I've seen this guy go analog
analog.
since I've known him.
Alright,
Yes, folks, he's
I'm gonna
writing
make a
it
list.
down. He's going analog.
So, for Strat, we're gonna have 1 through 5. This is pretty clean. I don't think I want anything cleaner than this one.
No, I think for what we do, that's a great sound and a
So-
good bass. You could build upon it with pedals if you wanted to.
That's just it. I might be able to get something nice just by using a pedal to get it.
Right.
Because, to switch to a lead without having to switch to another
Mm-hmm.
thing. So that's cool. We got one clean one.
Yeah.
On the Kemper, you've got effects A through D on your stops. These are going to be pre-cabinet.
Ooh.
I know, it's exciting.
No, can we go to Texas Roadhouse? Rolls. Yeah, John.
I'm on board. I like Texas Roadhouse, dude.
Ask your mom.
Yeah, leave it to her.
Ask your mom. It's fine with me. So, on the Kemper, you've got stops, stack, and effects. What do we decide?
We're going to Texas Roadhouse. No.
Yow!
No.
But anyways,
We have to go to dinner.
we do have to go to dinner.
Hey, John.
What's up, Matt?
That was some fascinating information you gave me on that Tuesday Gearday video.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, I really appreciated that.
You're welcome.
I find those to be really handy.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody else thinks that.
If you do, you should subscribe.
Right here.
And here's some more videos for you.
Don't forget to bell it, yo. Cheers!